Vernon, Deckard, all in Hardin County, Kentucky. It's a good place to be. I really enjoyed it. Well, I always loved to fish and I loved to hunt, and I was always around the stream that had fish in, and the fields and everything used to be full of rabbits and birds and plenty of squirrels to hunt, and I grew up like that, me and my dad and brother, and until I was in the Army, and I enjoyed every bit of it. I didn't have any sisters. I had a brother and a half brother, and my dad, but mostly just me and my dad and brother. Christmas, well, Christmas wasn't much back there then. We got firecrackers and a piece to a candy, an apple orange or something. We was doing good, but we all enjoyed it. Church, we didn't go to church much back there then because they had one room churches mostly, and they were your pretty good pieces apart, you know. I enjoyed the hog killing time, you know, when they come in with the fresh pork chops and liver. I love liver. Well, we had, me and my brother, we cut wood for the winter and summer. Of course, I had a wood stove that we cooked on all the time. And we had to always keep wood seasoned to cook with, and we cut the other up for the stove to heat the house with. In 19 and I'm gonna say 40 or 41, I bought a 29 Model A Ford. Well, didn't cost a whole lot back there. They'd all paid $50 for it. But we worked and cut wood and stuff like that for $1 a day or whatever it was, the dinner and stuff. Worked on a farm. Wasn't much work going on back there. Everybody's in the same boat. They didn't have anything and didn't want too much, you know. Listen to the radio, Lum and Abner, most of the time along about, I'd say, in the summertime, probably about 8 or 9. Getting up early, no problem unless you go to school. Company owned, there was Vernon's Barber Shop. Well, I came back out of the Army in 1945, and like I say, work was scarce back there those days, before the war. And I came back out of the Army, and I decided I was going to have to learn some kind of trade because I didn't have the education to succeed. So I decided that people were going to have haircuts. So I went to GI Bill of Rights and learned to be a barber. Work. I love to work. Why? Because that's something that keeps you out of trouble, and it's just something that's good for you to do. You got to keep busy. There's lots of things you can tell them, you know. Stay out of trouble. Stay out of drugs. Don't drink. Don't smoke. If you're doing that, you'll succeed. And of course, reading the Bible. Most times now I'm not able to do much of anything, but I do get outside and sit around and my daughter comes down and gets me a whole lot of dollar, and we go out and occasionally we hit these yard sales and anything like that that pass away the time, enjoy ourselves. I love logging reels. I love these. All I fish for catfish and bass and mostly catfish and bass. Before I go to sleep, not too much. I just think, well, what am I going to have? What am I going to make myself for breakfast this morning? And I do a lot of things about the past, pray every night. Well, of course, being from Hardin County, I was born in a half mile here, and I've been here all my life. I used to know everybody just about within a 5 or 6 mile radius, and there wasn't anything here then, no roads or anything, just old dirt roads, and. I did remember riding in the horse and buggy 2 or 3 times, and yeah, it wasn't much here. There's no roads or anything. Where I live at now was all rolled up in fields and woods. Yeah, I love, like I said, I love fishing and hunting, and you could hunt and fish any place you wanted to about. The people didn't care. But you can't do that anymore. That's all in the past. I'm Vernon Deckard, and I'm from Elizabethtown, Kentucky. I'm 96 years old, and I've lived here in Hardin County all my life. Oh, Hardin County, when I was growing up, Hardin County wasn't too much here at the time. It was very thinly populated. I remember from a little place called Rogersville down here to Elizabethtown, there was about 11 houses, and that was on old 31W, and that was the only road come through here at that time. I was at school in Vine Grove, Kentucky, the day Pearl Harbor was attacked. They had a radio and announced it at school that day. Older brother Arnold Deckard was in the Air Force, and he was stationed in New Guinea at the time. So I didn't hear from him too often since he was in New Guinea Air Force, and I was in the infantry division. When I was 18 years old, I was drafted by the Army and sent to Camp Landing, Florida for my basic training. Didn't get much mail like that. I can't remember that too well. Well, that's the only thing I can say is that she wrote me letters all the time, and then when I got the rule, I got letters from Mom, you know. And she kept the people informed in Hardin County by the News Enterprise. I didn't get much mail up there. In the infantry, they hardly ever got mail. In Camp Landing, Florida, where I was taking my training, we were situated next to a large lake. And we went out that every day and trained 5 to 5 mile marches, 10 mile marches, so on and so forth. And a lot of them were forced marches. We had a certain time to complete that march in. We trained on rifles, shooting the rifle at targets. We trained some on foreign mortars, some on machine guns, but mostly the M1 rifle. We come in at night, lots of times we come in and maybe be all night, out all night long. And we come in the next morning and have donuts and coffee, and then we was right back out again the next day. And we stayed in train until we got ready to come back in. And it was kind of rough training down there, I'll tell you, it was rough training. We went through places where there's alligators and snakes and everything else. Yes, people passed out. It was hot. It'd been January and February. I mean, you'd be cool in the morning. After you was out there by 10, 11 o'clock, you had to come out of your coats and things that you was wearing, you know. And yes, some of them, General Road truck come behind, pretty good piece behind, picked up stragglers, you know. Me, I made it. It was rough. I made it. And, my feet were bad, and I had a rough time, but I toughened it out. I was in for the long haul. What kept me really going, I guess, was that the job had to be done. Somebody had to do it. And I was willing to do my part. July 1944. Went in as a replacement. That when I took training in Camp Blanding in Florida, I took it we knew pretty well that was going to have to replace someone. If someone got killed or wounded up there, someone had to take their place. So I took my training down there, and that's what happened. And when I joined the 9th Infantry Division, that's where they sent me to. And I went in to replace someone. I tell you the truth about it, that I didn't know what to expect or anything. I didn't really know. My physical training, physical fortitude was at Fort Thomas, Kentucky. They sent me through a room that had a doctor, one of the doctors in there, and he listened to my heart and told me, he said, jump up on your left foot 10 times. I did. Then he said, jump up on your right foot 10 times. I did. He wrote down, said, go to the next room. Said, the doctor be in there. I said, okay. So I goes in the next room, doctor sitting there. He took my paper and looked at it and everything. He said, jump on your left foot 10 times. I said, okay. I did. Jump up on your right foot 10 times. I did. So he looks across from there, and there's a sergeant or something, anyway, army personnel sitting at the desk. And he says to him, said, do we need anyone else in limited service? This guy said, we can take just a few more. So he said, okay. Well, I wasn't putting limited service. I was putting infantry basic training and sent to Camp Blanding, Florida. And that's how come they wind up in the 9th Infantry Division. 18 years old. It kind of set me back a little bit, you know, thinking, but I didn't understand fully, being my age and everything, I didn't understand what limited service was, as far as that goes. But I do remember sending me down to Camp Blanding, Florida. I didn't know I was going to train for the infantry when I went down there. I thought it was something limited service down there. So I didn't think much about it. After my basic training, they gave everybody 2 weeks to go home. And that's when I come home, and that's when my mother took me, when we got ready to leave, I went to Fort Meade, Maryland. My mother was with me when I got on the train there. I went to Fort Meade, Maryland. We stayed up there about a week, and we trained all the time we was there. Then after about a week or so, they sent me to New York and put me on a troop ship. And from there I went to Scotland. Well, I thought I'd be all right. But it was sad. We went out and trained shooting targets and things when they had training there set up. Well, back at 18 years old, I didn't think a whole lot about it. When D-Day came upon us in France, I didn't know anything about D-Day at that day. Nobody knew anything about D-Day except the Germans, because we didn't want Germany or anybody else to know that we were going to invade France. I wasn't in the invasion that day, but I went in later. But still Normandy, France.
What do you remember when you went in? What do you remember? What happened?
That's something I wanted to remind you
We
of.
went in, we had full field packs. Every one of us had full field packs. We got off these ships and everything. Got full field packs. Went in, and I threw them all in a pile, and kept our little light field packs on her that we carried our rations in. And that's about it. And stayed there until they took us up to the front as replacements.
Okay, Dad, I remember you telling me, I asked you a question, and something that struck me as memorable is you said when you were starting to the front lines, you found a little quiet spot and you said a prayer that you'd be okay. And then you started in on with you and your
Well,
buddy.
when we got there, of course, they had already established the bridgehead and everything, and we landed there, and they had the hut up, a little tent set up, and we stayed there 1 or 2 nights, whatever it was, getting ready to go up front. And I remember it was kind of like an apple orchard or something, and I went out one night and I got thinking pretty bad about things, you know, and I asked God to take care of it, and He did.
At night, did you hear a lot of commotion? Did you hear a lot of noise? What was that like at nighttime?
Well, you hear a lot of artillery fire, big guns going off, things. They're a few miles away from us, but you hear.
Did you see any animals out and about? Did you see any wildlife? Was it just mayhem? What did you
Nothing
see?
jackrabbits.
Huh?
I saw jackrabbits. Mm-hmm. Now, I remember Thanksgiving Day, when they came Thanksgiving, the couple of those guys took the Brown and automatic rifles. They went out and they killed a bunch of these jackrabbits. They brought them in, and we had jackrabbits to eat on Thanksgiving Day.
That worked out.
Yeah, real good. Well, we was in hedgerow fighting there, and those hedgerows, they were probably about 6 feet tall. And of course, they had hedgerow that had head was planted on top of those mounds, and the Germans were behind those. And each field, it could be It could be acre or 2, 3, or 4 acres, something. And they had openings in these hedgerows where the farmers took their cattle and everything and got in and got out of the fields, you know. But the hedgerows kept the stock in the fields. And the Germans were zeroed in on those places. And when I went to go through there, there was a guy in front of me, and I saw him get hit. And then I said, well, I'm going through there too. So I had a rifle in the left hand, and I was bent over one thing and another, and I took off like a streak of lightning to get through that place. And when I did, I felt something hit me in the left arm and in the right hip. Well, I jumped in behind the hedgerow there, and they was called from natives up there, and the natives come up there real quick. And they took the knives and cut my shirt off and cut my pants, one thing and another, before they could get it. And I only had flesh wound around the hip, but this bullet was in the arm. So I walked on back to the first aid station, and from there, they sent me to the hospital.
Which arm?
Left arm.
Show me.
Went in there, the scar stayed there for about 25, 30 years, I guess. Went in right there, hit the bone, and splattered in a circle. The doctor said he couldn't take it out because I'd lose control of my arm and my hand.
How does it affect you today?
I don't know. I can't rely on it altogether. I know I've had 2 or 3 occasions when my arm swelled up, my hand swelled up great big and everything. And one time I went to the first place you go when something happens to you. Anyway, doctor there, he drew a circle out, a mark around my arm there. He said, if this swell goes past there, don't you come here. He said, go straight to the hospital. Well, luckily, it didn't go past there. So that's one time, and I've had it once, twice since then. This right at the top one here is a good conduct medal. That means I never got in any trouble when I was in the Army, and I got a good rating on that. The bottom one here is a Purple Heart. That I got when I was wounded in the hedgerow fighting in France. This is the same color ribbon as a Purple Heart. It has an oak leaf cluster on it. They didn't give 2 Purple Hearts at the time. They gave, the second time the wounded, they gave you the oak leaf cluster. So that shows I was wounded twice. The only way you got that bad was you had to be wounded in combat. You got 5 bronze stars. And the medal. Picture of a dove.
What's it mean?
Peace.
How did you get it?
I guess the only thing it does is a picture of peace.
Dad, you want to tell them that's the 5 areas where you served during your campaign?
That was in northern France and
Europe, Africa, and the Middle East.
that is on northern France and Germany and all through there. Yeah, that's the victory medal there. So that we had the victory. This is the ribbon that goes with it. The pale button that you wore on your uniform.
Did you tell him it was your honorable discharge?
Honorable discharge, yeah. This is dog tags. This you didn't want to get. When you got killed, they took this tag and they put it, pried your mouth open and put this between your teeth. So when they come and got you, they know who you was. That's way of identification.
What was he like?
Dad didn't talk. He didn't and I didn't hear him say anything about the war, and you never talk about his own family or anything. Dad was more quiet. And there go at nighttime on the radio.
What do you remember most about your dad?
Well, he was, thank Dad, he was a good dad. Yeah, he was a good dad.
What's your middle name?
My middle name, Lady, L.W.
Yeah, what was your dad's whole name?
Lonnie Witt, W-Y-T-A. The Deckards came from Withville, Virginia. And I joined my outfit again. Say, Mr. President, won't you send us home? We conquered Luxembourg and liberated Rome. We whipped the ass off the Nazis' race, and now they say, no shipping's paid, please send us home.
Now, who come up with that song?
We're just waiting to come home. We're just staging there, waiting to ship out. Everybody knows after when you head home.
What did that feel like?
Feels good. Feels like you accomplished something.
What was the weather like at home when you made it back?
It was about like it was when we left. Well, it was pretty cool. Around 1st of December, it's pretty cool. The only thing I know is war is an awful thing. And I just wish there wasn't any more wars.
Tell us, what is your name?
Vernon Deckard. September 6, 19.5.